A man who walks away is someone they will never forget. My friends, let's get something straight. Walking away is not weakness. It's power, real power, the kind that shakes their world and makes them question everything. Most people expect you to chase them. They expect you to beg or wait around to prove your worth to them, like a desperate salesman trying to sell a product nobody wants. But the second you stop running, the entire game changes. What do they actually feel when you walk away? What happens inside their minds when the person they thought they controlled suddenly disappears? You're about to see the truth they never wanted you to know. But first, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe, because more men need to hear this. Today, my friends, it starts with you. Sure? Now picture this. Imagine you're playing tug of war. You've got both hands gripping the rope, pulling with everything you've got, trying to keep them close. On the other side, they're just leaning back, smirking, barely holding on. They know that the moment they tug just a little, you'll come stumbling forward like a fool. But what happens when you let go? Suddenly, they're the ones falling flat on their faces. They weren't expecting it. They weren't prepared for it. And that, my friends, is the moment they feel it. That is the moment the tables turn. You see, most people, whether it's a friend, an ex, or even a family member, only value you when they think they have control. They thrive on knowing they can push and pull you like a puppet on strings. The moment you walk away, you are not just removing yourself from their life, you are removing their power over you, and that's terrifying for them. At first, they'll act like they don't care. They'll pretend you never mattered. But let me tell you something hard and cold. Their silence doesn't mean they're okay. Their silence means they're waiting, watching, testing you. They want to see if you'll cave because most men do. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone walk away only to run back the moment they got ignored? It's a cycle, my friends, and it keeps you trapped. But you're not here to be trapped. You're here to wake up. And let's be real, folks. If someone truly valued you, they wouldn't need to lose you to realize it. But here's where it gets interesting. The moment they realize you're serious, something dangerous happens. The shift begins. They start to feel it. At first, it's just a little thought in the back of their minds, but soon it spirals into regret, jealousy, and obsession. By the time they realize what they've lost, guess what? You've already moved on. That is the ultimate power move. That is the moment you win. Because the truth is, the person who walks away first is the one who controls the story. And right now, I need you to decide. Are you the one who begs for attention? Or are you the one who makes them feel your absence? So if you're ready to walk away and mean it, type in the comments right now. I am in control. Say it, type it, own it. Because from this moment forward, you are no longer chasing. You are no longer begging. You are no longer begging for anyone to realize your worth. Stay with me, because by the time we're done, you'll never see walking away the same way again. The initial shock, they never thought you'd do it. The most dangerous man is the one who no longer seeks permission to walk away. Let's be real, my friends. They never thought you'd actually do it. They thought you'd always be there, waiting, hoping for a sign, a text, or a little scrap of attention to keep you hooked. But the second you step back, the second you remove yourself from their world, it hits them like a train they never saw coming. Imagine a fisherman who's been tossing bait into the water every single day, watching the same fish swim up and take a bite over and over again. He never worries about losing it. Why would he? The fish always comes back. It's predictable, it's comfortable. But then one day the fish doesn't bite. It disappears into the deep, out of sight, and suddenly the fisherman realizes he's the one left waiting. This is exactly what happens when you walk away. At first, they don't believe it. They assume you'll be back, that you're just playing games, that you'll crack in a few days, or maybe a week and come crawling back like you always do. And maybe, just maybe, you start to believe that too. The fear creeps in. What if I'm making a mistake? What if they really don't care? What if walking away just pushes them further away? But let me ask you something. If they truly valued you, why did you have to leave for them to notice? This is where most people fall back into the trap. They panic. The silence becomes too loud. The lack of response feels suffocating. They start questioning everything, and that's when the weakness creeps in. That's when they break. But not this time. Because here's the truth they never told you. Walking away isn't about making them miss you. It's about making you find yourself. The problem is, most people have been trained to fear walking away. Society tells you that if you love someone, you should hold on, fight, prove yourself, that the strongest thing you can do is keep trying. But that's a lie, designed to keep you trapped in a cycle of desperation and self-doubt. Listen to me. The strongest thing you can do is walk away with your head held high, knowing you never needed to beg for what should have been freely given. And yes, it feels like stepping off a cliff with no parachute. Your instincts scream at you to turn back, to reach out, to check their social media, to send that "just wondering how you're doing" text. But let me tell you something right now. The only thing waiting for you if you turn back is more of the same pain that made you leave in the first place. So today, right now, you have a choice. Do you give in to fear, or do you rise above it? Because the second you truly commit to walking away, something shifts, not just in them, but in you. You start to realize you never needed them the way you thought you did, that your value was never in their hands. It was always in yours, and soon they'll feel it. Oh, they'll feel it. That's when the real panic begins. But we'll get to that. For now, I want you to make a statement, not just to them, but to yourself. Type in the comments right now. I am done begging. Say it, own it, let the world see it. Because once you write it, you make it real. And trust me, my friends, what happens next is even better. The ego panic. Why isn't he reacting? Power is never given. It is taken. And when you take it back, they feel it. At first, they tell themselves a lie. He'll be back. That's what they whisper in their minds to keep their ego intact. They've seen this before. They've played this game. They know how this usually goes. You get quiet, you step back, and then like clockwork, you return. You always do, because you always have. They're certain of it, but as the hours turn into days, and the days start stacking into something heavier, something longer, that certainty begins to crack. The usual pattern isn't happening. You aren't reacting. You aren't chasing. And that, my friends, is when the first ripple of fear hits them. It's not obvious at first. No, they'll still keep their composure. They'll act unbothered, post something online to signal how fine they are. Maybe even mention your name in passing just to see if it stirs anything. But make no mistake, the panic is creeping in. It starts as a small, uncomfortable itch in the back of their minds. A tiny voice asking, "Wait, why isn't he reaching out?" And the moment they ask that question, you've already won. Because you see, people expect to be chased. They expect you to need closure, to check in, to linger just enough for them to feel secure in their control over you. That's how they feed their ego. It's not about love. It's not about missing you. It's about knowing they could have you back if they wanted to. The power wasn't in having you. It was in knowing you were still waiting for them. That's why when you break the pattern, when you truly disappear, it's like pulling the ground out from beneath them. For the first time, they don't feel in control. Now they have to test you. They have to check. They can't sit in the uncertainty because uncertainty means loss of power. So they'll start small. Maybe it's a like on an old picture. Maybe it's a vague post that feels aimed at you, but not directly enough for them to lose face. Maybe it's a simple "hey" that they send out just to see if you'll bite. And this moment right here, it's the real test. They aren't reaching out because they care. They aren't messaging you because they suddenly had an epiphany and realized how much you meant to them. They're checking to see if they still own space in your mind. Because the second you react, they win. They can breathe easy again, knowing you are just pretending. But you're not pretending, are you? You've seen the game for what it is. You've recognized that the only power you ever lost was the power you freely gave away, and now you're taking it back. So you don't respond, you don't react. You let the notification sit there, untouched and unbothered, while on the other end, they're checking their phones, waiting for it to light up with your name. And when it doesn't, the panic grows. This is the moment where most people cave. Because the silence is loud, because the need for validation creeps back in, because deep down, there's still that old fear. What if they move on? What if they never come back? What if this is the end? But let me ask you something. If someone only wants you when you pull away, did they ever really want you at all? Understand this, my friends. When you truly walk away, you are not losing them. They are losing you. Their reaction, their panic, their sudden need for attention, it is proof that they never valued you the way they should have when they had you. Because the only people who panic when you leave are the ones who thought you'd never go. So now the tables have turned. They are the ones watching, waiting, hoping for a sign that they haven't lost their grip on you. And when that sign never comes, that's when the real regret begins. But we'll get to that. For now, I want you to lock this in. Write it in the comments right now. I am in control. Not them, not their games, not their ego, you. Because the moment you own that truth, they will feel it. And trust me, my friends, this is only the beginning. Self-doubt creeps in. Was I not good enough? Nothing haunts the mind like the realization that what you took for granted is never coming back. At first, they tell themselves a story, a lie, really. He's just playing games. He'll get bored. He'll come back like he always does. They repeat it over and over, convincing themselves that your silence is just a strategy, that you're only trying to make them jealous, that any moment now you'll crack and reach out. But the days keep passing, and you don't. And that's when the first real crack forms in their confidence, the first little shift from certainty to doubt. You see, people don't fear losing you. They fear losing control over you. They fear waking up one day and realizing that the thing they once believed was theirs is suddenly gone, and worse, thriving without them. This is when the self-doubt starts creeping in. At first, it's just a whisper in the back of their minds, an annoying little thought they keep pushing away. Why isn't he coming back? Why hasn't he reached out? They don't like these questions. They make them uncomfortable. Because the moment they ask themselves, they have to consider an even bigger one. Was I not good enough for him to stay? That question, it's the one thing they never thought they'd have to ask themselves. Because before, they were certain of their place in your mind. They were certain you would always be there, always thinking of them, always waiting, always hoping for a second chance. But now that certainty is gone, and for the first time, they start looking at themselves differently. They stare a little longer in the mirror, fixing their hair, adjusting their clothes, taking pictures they never used to take, all in an attempt to prove something to themselves. They start fishing for compliments, seeking validation from others, desperately trying to silence the question in their heads. What if he actually moved on? Because here's the hard truth, the one no one tells you. People only start valuing what they've lost when they realize it's never coming back. And that realization, it's brutal. It's the kind of thing that keeps them up at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying old memories, rereading old messages, feeling something they never expected to feel for you: jealousy. Jealousy of the idea that you might be giving someone else the attention you once gave them. Jealousy of the fact that while they were busy assuming you'd always be there, you were out there becoming someone they no longer have access to. It eats away at them bit by bit until suddenly you are no longer the one waiting. They are. And let's talk about that jealousy for a second, because, my friends, it is a powerful thing. It makes them do things they never thought they'd do. Suddenly, they're checking who's liking your pictures, scrolling through your followers, wondering if any new names have appeared. They're crafting stories in their minds, imagining you laughing with someone else, moving on, being happy. And that thought, it burns, because in their minds, you were supposed to be the one who suffered. You were supposed to be the one waiting, longing, regretting. They were supposed to be the ones who moved on first, the ones who dictated how this ended. And yet here they are, spiraling while you are silent. You are gone. That silence is power. Because the truth is, people don't break when you fight for them. They break when you stop fighting altogether. When they realize there are no second chances, no more late-night messages, no more waiting for them to figure things out. When they realize you walked away, not to prove a point, not to make them jealous, but because you finally understood your own worth. And by the time they admit that, it's already too late, because now they are the ones living with the question. They are the ones looking in the mirror, wondering if they'll ever find someone like you again. And that, my friends, is the kind of regret that never fades. For the regret phase. Did I make a mistake? Regret is a slow poison. It doesn't kill instantly, but it eats away at you piece by piece. And at you piece by piece. At first, they fought it. They told themselves you were just being dramatic, that this was temporary, that any day now you'd snap out of it and come crawling back. They laughed at the idea that you could actually be gone for good. But now, that laughter has faded. Now it's just silence, and in that silence something dangerous is happening inside their minds. Regret doesn't hit all at once. No, regret is patient. It creeps in slowly, like a leak in the ceiling that goes unnoticed until the whole roof caves in. At first, it's just an uncomfortable thought they try to push away. Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I overplayed my hand. Maybe I shouldn't have taken them for granted, but they dismiss it. Their ego won't let them admit it yet, so they distract themselves. They go out more, surround themselves with noise, with people, with anything that will keep them from sitting alone with their thoughts. Because deep down, they know if they sit still for too long, the truth will catch up to them. But truth doesn't wait forever, and one night when the distractions aren't enough, when the noise finally dies down, it happens. They pick up their phones. Their thumbs hover over your name. They scroll through old messages, rereading things they barely acknowledged when you first sent them. And that's when the weight of it all comes crashing down. That's when it hits them. They lost something real, and it's never coming back. This is when the regret turns into something deeper, something heavier, because now they're not just regretting losing you, they're regretting how easily they let it happen. They start replaying moments in their heads, questioning the decisions they made, wondering why they didn't appreciate what they had when they had it. And the worst part, they can't do anything about it. They can't go back and change it. They can't undo the choices that led them here. That's the thing about regret. It doesn't give you a do-over. It just sits there, whispering, you had something good, and you let it slip through your fingers. And now they have to live with that. And let's talk about that feeling for a second, because it's different from missing someone. Missing someone is innocent, it's soft, it's a quiet ache. But regret is brutal, it's loud, it's a war inside your mind. It's knowing that you can't just reach out and fix what's broken, because some things once lost are lost forever. This is the part where they start searching for answers. They start comparing, looking at other people, other connections, other relationships, and suddenly nothing measures up, because no one replaces what was once real. And that's the moment they realize they didn't just lose a person. They lost a version of themselves that only existed when you were around. That version of them was confident, happy, and secure. But now they're just someone sitting in the dark, staring at a screen, hoping for a message that isn't coming. And that's the cruel irony of regret. It makes people want to fix things only when they're beyond fixing. It makes them want to chase what they once ignored. It makes them long for the very thing they took for granted. But by the time they understand this, you've already moved forward. You're not in the same place you were when they left. You're not waiting by your phone, wondering if they'll ever come back. You're gone. And that is the hardest pill for them to swallow. Because now, for the first time, they are the ones feeling powerless. They are the ones replaying old memories. They are the ones regretting the way they treated you. But the difference? You're no longer available to ease their pain. This is what regret really is. It's not just missing someone. It's knowing that they're never coming back. And the moment they realize that, the suffering truly begins. 5. The jealousy spiral. Who is he with now? Jealousy doesn't whisper, it roars. And nothing haunts a person more than seeing someone they thought they controlled move on without them. At first, they tried to convince themselves they didn't care, that you walking away didn't mean anything, that they could replace you just like that, as if you were just another option in a long list of admirers. But now something is happening, something they never prepared for. Their minds are starting to spiral. It starts with a simple thought, one they try to ignore. What if he's moved on? They shake it off, pretending it doesn't bother them, but that thought refuses to leave. It lingers, poking at them, forcing them to imagine things they don't want to see. And before they know it, it takes over. Now they're checking your social media with a different kind of urgency. Before, it was just curiosity, a habit. But now it's a need. They start scanning your posts, looking at your likes, checking your followers. They scroll through your pictures, searching for clues, analyzing every little thing. And then the real nightmare begins. They see you smiling, looking unbothered, enjoying life. Maybe they see a new name in the comments, someone they don't recognize. Maybe they notice a picture that wasn't there before, a new place, a new group, maybe even a new person. And suddenly, it feels like a knife twisting in their stomach, because this isn't how it was supposed to go. See, in their minds, you weren't supposed to move on. You were supposed to sit there, waiting, missing them, hoping for a second chance. You were supposed to stay in limbo, stuck in the same emotional prison they thought they left you in. But now, as they sit there, scrolling through your life like an outsider looking in, it hits them. You're not suffering. You're not begging. You're not chasing. You've moved forward, and that is something they cannot handle, because now the tables have turned. They are the ones feeling powerless, insecure, forgotten. And the worst part, they can't stop looking. It doesn't matter how many times they tell themselves they don't care. Jealousy is stronger than pride. So they keep watching, obsessing, tearing themselves apart with questions they never wanted to ask. Who is he with? Does he think about me? Has he already replaced me? And that last one, that's the one that burns. Because deep down, they know they never thought they could be replaced. They believed they were irreplaceable, that you would always crave their validation, that no matter what, you would always be there. But you're not. And now they can't stop picturing it. They can't stop imagining you with someone else, someone who appreciates you in a way they never did, someone who sees your value without needing to lose you first.
And that thought?
It kills them. Jealousy is a funny thing. It makes people do things they swore they'd never do. Suddenly, they're posting things aimed at you, hoping you'll notice. They're trying to make you feel what they're feeling, hoping to get a reaction. But it's not working, because the thing about jealousy is it only works when the other person cares. And you don't care in you. You don't care anymore. That's when the panic sets in. That's when they realize they aren't in control of the situation anymore. That's when they start questioning everything, doubting themselves, realizing just how badly they miscalculated. Because now, for the first time, they are the ones feeling left behind. They are the ones feeling unchosen, unwanted, forgotten. And nothing eats at a person more than knowing the person they thought they could always come back to no longer wants them. That's the power of walking away. It doesn't just free you. It makes them face the truth they spent so long avoiding. And the deeper that truth sinks in, the more desperate they become. But we'll get to that. Because jealousy, it's only the beginning. The real breakdown is coming. Let me prove I'm fine. Some people don't heal. They just find a distraction and call it happiness. They felt the silence. They felt the panic. They felt the jealousy creeping in, eating at them every time they check their phones, and realize you still haven't come back. Now they're desperate. But here's the thing about desperation. It doesn't make people smarter. It makes them reckless. So what do? They find a replacement. Not because they're over you, not because they've truly moved on, but because they need proof. Proof that they still have options. Proof that they can replace you. Proof that they're in control. And so, in their rush to erase the feeling of emptiness, They grab the first person willing to play along. At first, it looks like they're winning. They post the pictures, they go out more, they force the laughter, the smiles, the captions about new beginnings and moving on. And for a moment, they actually believe it. They believe they've outplayed you, that they've replaced you before you could replace them, that they've moved on while you're still stuck in the past. But here's the truth they don't want to admit. They aren't moving forward. They're running in circles. Because this new person, they aren't you. They don't have the same depth, the same connection, the same unspoken bond. They're just a placeholder, a temporary distraction dressed up as a new beginning, and deep down, they know it. They know. That's why even in the middle of this so-called fresh start, they're still checking for you. They're still watching your stories, still scrolling through your page, still looking for signs that you care. Because despite what they show the world, despite what they tell themselves, you still exist in their minds. See, people don't replace what they truly value. They only replace what they were never afraid to lose. And the fact that they are scrambling to fill the space you left behind tells you everything. But here's where it gets interesting. That rebound they thought would fix everything, it starts to fall apart, because no matter how much they try to convince themselves, there's no excitement in chasing something that came too easy. There's no thrill in winning a game that was never a challenge. And so, boredom sets in. They start losing interest. The new person who once felt like an escape now feels like a burden. The validation they were chasing no longer satisfies them because no one in the world can replace what they lost. Not even the person they chose as a distraction. And suddenly they're right back where they started, but worse. Because now the regret is stronger. Now the realization is clearer. Now they know they made a mistake, but it's too late. Because while they were busy trying to prove a point, you weren't watching, you weren't waiting. You were becoming someone they no longer have access to. That's the real pain. Not just losing you, but losing the version of you that once cared. And once they understand that, that's when the real suffering begins. 7. The breakdown. I want him back. Nothing is more painful than realizing the person you took for granted no longer wants you. At first, they played it off like they didn't care. They convinced themselves they had moved on, that their new distractions, their new routines, their new happiness were real. They pushed the regret aside, drowned out the jealousy, and ignored the gnawing feeling that something wasn't quite right. But reality has a way of catching up, and now it's no longer something they can ignore. Now it's right in front of them, staring them down, forcing them to face the one truth they never wanted to admit. They lost you, and they can't get you back. That realization doesn't come gently. It crashes down on them like a wave they never saw coming. One moment they think they're fine. The next, they're spiraling. It starts in quiet moments, spaces where their minds are left unchecked. Sitting alone in their cars, lying awake at night, scrolling through old memories they once dismissed without a second thought. And suddenly, those moments that felt so small, so meaningless at the time, they feel heavier now. They feel important. They feel like something they never should have let go. And that's when the panic sets in. Because now it's not just about missing you, it's about needing you. They start replaying everything in their heads, analyzing, overthinking, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. Maybe if I had been a little softer. Maybe if I had given you more. Maybe if I had just treated you the way you deserved, things wouldn't have ended like this. But regret is a funny thing. It doesn't come when you can fix things. It comes when it's too late. And now, for the first time, they are truly powerless. This is when desperation creeps in, slowly at first, but then all at once. They start looking for ways back in, testing the waters, trying to see if there's even the smallest chance that you still care. Maybe they send a casual message, something innocent, something that doesn't give away how much they've been thinking about you. Maybe they post something vague, hoping you'll see it, hoping you'll take the bait. Maybe they even reach out through someone else, a mutual friend. A comment that feels just subtle enough to be safe. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Because the one thing they weren't prepared for, the thing they never truly considered, is the possibility that you've moved on. That's the final blow, the thing that breaks them in a way nothing else could. Because now it's not just regret. It's not just jealousy. It's loss, real, undeniable loss. And the worst part, there's nothing they can do about it. They can't undo the past. They can't erase the choices that led them here. They can't rewrite the way they treated you when they thought you'd always be there. And now they have to live with it. This is the true punishment. Not your silence, not your absence, but the realization that they no longer have a say in your life. They don't get to know where you are, who you're with, or what you're doing. They don't get the comfort of knowing that if they wanted to, they could walk back in like nothing ever happened. That door, it's closed, and that's when the real suffering begins. 8. The ultimate power shift, but you've already moved on. The real loss isn't when someone walks away. It's when they walk away and never look back. At first, they still had hope. Maybe you were just being stubborn. Maybe you were just waiting for them to say the right thing, do the right thing, show you a little more effort. They still believed they had time, that you were somewhere out there, thinking about them just as much as they were thinking about you. But that illusion, the one that kept them comfortable in their denial, is about to be shattered. Because now something is happening that they never truly believed would happen. You're moving on. Not pretending to, not using it as a tactic, but actually becoming someone they no longer have access to. At first, they refuse to believe it. They check your social media more often, hoping to see some kind of sign that you're still lingering in the past. But instead of longing, instead of breadcrumbs that say you're still emotionally tied to them, they see distance. They see a version of you that no longer seems affected. A version of you that isn't checking for them, isn't waiting for them, isn't even thinking about them. And that stings in a way they never saw coming. Because for the first time, they are forced to see you as a stranger. Not someone they can run back to. Not someone who will always pick up the phone. Not someone who still has a soft spot for them. But someone who no longer belongs to them at all. And that's the moment everything shifts. And that's the moment everything shifts. Because what was once regret, what was once just an uncomfortable feeling of losing control, is now a deep, gut-wrenching realization that they were never as important as they thought they were. This is when the weight of it all finally hits them. The memories that used to bring them comfort, the ones they used to replay in their minds as proof that you'd always be around, now feel like a knife twisting in their chests. Because now they aren't just memories, they're proof of everything they'd slipped through, everything they let slip through their fingers. They think back to the times you tried to hold on, the times you showed up, the times you proved over and over that you wanted them in your life. And now that version of you is gone. they try to justify it. They try to tell themselves that maybe you're just faking it, that maybe deep down you still care. But the truth is too loud to ignore. Because when they reach out, if they even dare to, you don't give them what they expect. You don't respond with warmth. You don't fall back into their arms. You don't make it easy for them to step back into the space they once occupied. If you even respond at all, it's different, detached, unbothered, like they are just another person in your past. And that is the final blow. Because now it's no longer about regret. It's no longer about wanting you back. Now it's about the pain of knowing they have no power over you anymore. And there is no worse feeling than realizing you were once someone's entire world, and now you're nothing but a distant memory. That's the price of taking someone for granted. That's the punishment for assuming someone will always be there, for mistaking kindness for weakness, for believing that they could play games without consequences, because people don't stay forever. And once they leave, they take something with them that can never be replaced, and now they're left with nothing. The echoes of what could have been watching from the outside, knowing they will never be a part of your world again. And that is the moment they finally understand. But by then, it doesn't matter anymore, because you're already gone.